Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
There are only 30 shopping days left until Christmas. There's a lot to do before the big day.
Many families have never felt so pulled apart. Continued concerns of wars and rumors of wars haven't made things much better. There has never been a better time to have an old-fashioned Christmas.
Wow, I've read that somewhere, that whole statement. Bring a sense of nostalgia to this holiday season by using fresh greens everywhere, topped off with a fresh Christmas tree, and real poinsettias all around the house.
Fresh evergreens in every room will help us focus on the holy days of the holidays rather than the worries of the world and the continued concerns of on TV and the internet.
Could the news be any worse?
I know.
Anyway, today's show is a buyer's guide for everything fresh. Evergreens, wreaths, roping, greens, trees. Whatever you're thinking about green, we are going to tell you what to do, what to buy, and how to take care of it.
So stay tuned. We will be right back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Fertilome's Triple Action contains 70% neem oil and 0.25% pyrethrins as a concentrate and ready to spray. It is an insecticide, fungicide, and miticide labeled to use on vegetables, fruits, nuts, herbs, spices, and ornamentals. This organic OMRI-listed product controls a wide variety of insect pests and diseases, including aphids, scale, spider mites, whiteflies, rust, leaf spot, and powdery mildew. This insecticide is an all-in-one bottle that will cure just about any problem you may run into throughout the year. Fertilome's Triple Action has been helping gardeners across the country for years. Best to apply in late evening and early morning hours. Mix 1 ounce, which is equivalent to 2 tablespoons in a gallon of water. The best part is Triple Action may be used up to the day of harvest. So, the next time you are visiting your favorite garden center, ask for Fertilome's Triple Action and expect to have the best-looking plants in the neighborhood.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York Tri-State Area on Classic Oldies 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome, everybody, to Bloomers in the Garden. Yes, fresh evergreens, and we have them right here, Len, in our studio, and it's smelling good right now.
Yeah, check out on the YouTube channel, please.
Yes.
Subscribe and give us 5-star review.
Oh, yes. Wreaths could be as big a symbol of Christmas as the Christmas tree itself, huh, Len?
That's true, but it was adopted from other cultures. Let's just say it wasn't the original. It goes all the way back to pagan holidays. Now, you've heard of Yule logs.
Yule logs, yeah.
Right? And Yule and the season of Yule and all those Christmas songs that have Yule in it.
Yeah, funny it is.
Well, I bet Yule didn't know that it was basically a German and Scandinavian holiday, and it was a 12-day festival. Wow. And it was held midwinter to honor the returning of the sun in this seasonal cycle. I get this. I dig this, where it's the fact that I always look forward to the 22nd, 23rd of December because we actually start getting more and more sunlight. So it's the darkest time of the year, the shortest time of the year, but it's, Sam, here comes that sun.
Here comes that sun. I can get it.
We'll let George Harrison, just sit there on the sidelines until maybe we get some more sun. But it symbolizes that it's the promise of spring. Wreaths held candles and were lit in hopes of the returning warmth of the sun. And these are ancient cultures. This isn't just, in 1748, this is ancient world. Rome, too, had an annual midwinter celebration called Saturnalia.
Yeah, we celebrated it in Latin class.
Oh, did you really?
Wow.
Pagan.
Mine is the debauchery part. We dialed that back a little bit.
Yeah, it was like, orgy fest.
Yeah, we didn't do that part. We just made food.
Those crazy Italians. Anyway.
Southern.
It basically, again, it was celebrating the god of agriculture or sowing. I can understand what they were getting into. Any reason for a party. Anyway, so they used the holly wreath as a form of decoration and also gave them as gifts. So here come the Christians. And that they adopted many of these same things and adopted them for a Christian culture where the circular shape of the wreath represents God with no beginning and no end. The use of evergreen branches in a wreath is to signify eternal life brought through Jesus. The wreath was meant to represent the crown of thorns worn by Jesus on the cross. And by hanging one of these on their door, Christians were inviting the Spirit of Christ into their home.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Pretty amazing. So it goes to where we are still doing this in 2023 today. 2023. So if you didn't know why you put out a wreath, this is why you originally did that. So again, watch out for those Romans.
Mm-hmm. That symbolism is important,
very.
Isn't it, Len?
It's very symbolism. I talked to my daughter about that.
Oh, you did?
When she went to Catholic school.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I did. Anyway, so when you're buying a wreath, there's a term by those that know in the garden center world. You don't want any shakers. What's a shaker? Julio, do you know what a shaker is?
It's the ones that look dry.
It's the one that where you're shaking and all the needles fall off. Don't buy a shaker. Okay. Sometimes greens are a little bit on the yellow side, but they're not that it's dry or dying or anything. It's just that tree that they made the wreath from may have been a little on the yellow side. Yeah, my dad used to call them. That's what you sell. Those are night tree. You sell them at night.
Night trees.
Anyway, I'm regressing back to it's like, Carl. You hear that? You got any yellow trees? And some trees are just a little more yellow. Like, for instance, Fraser fir, a nice dark green. But, for instance, Douglas fir, which are a softer needle, and we'll get into this in trees, but they often are a little more yellowish. They go anywhere from blue to like a lime pale green.
Yeah.
They're all different. They're all different. But did you know that Bloomers dips all of their wreaths? Well, you do because your hands have been full of wilt stop. That wilt stop is something that we just make a big vat of it. We dip all of our wreaths, and it secures them from not drying out. It basically encapsulates the foliage, and that it's a natural product.
What's that word you use all the time? Something?
Anti-transparent.
Yes, sir.
That's an anti-transparent. Anyway, what that basically says is it's not going to allow the water that's encapsulated in the branch, in the cut tree, to escape and dry out. So it seals that water in. It is clear. It's a clear film. It sometimes will make your tree look a little like almost like a little shinier.
Shiny, yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically a pine-based resin that is sprayed on the tree, and it certainly extends the life of all of your greens, whether that's roping or wreaths or bunches of greens or what have you. Anywhere you can do that, and it's made specifically for your outdoor plants. So if you're spraying it on your broadleafed evergreens, that's what you want to do. But please follow the instructions that are on the package. There are some plants that you don't want to do. They would need to be fully dormant. And again, that is all spelled on the package. Anytime we do recommendations, make sure that you read the label first, okay? Because your conditions may vary from how we're suggesting to use it. So again, it's used for cut evergreens, but please read the instructions. So I don't know. It's something that you definitely want to pick up. Wilt Stop is used everywhere. So
extends it. Yeah.
Yep. And if you have some left over after Christmas, you spray down your plants.
Oh, yeah.
Your plants will thank you. All right. We're going to be back in the garden talking about garland and mantelpieces and table runners right after these messages. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Are you looking forward to a spring of vibrancy while using the best organically approved growing media for your annuals and vegetables? Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter has been created to set a diverse culture ideal for germinating seeds and root cuttings. Created using the best ancient composting techniques and new age mixing devices, Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter gently combines kelp meal, worm castings, mycorrhiza, perlite, and sustainably harvested peat moss, establishing the most desirable setting to enhance new plant growth. Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter is available at these local retailers, or visit www.coastofmaine.com to locate one near you.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, PA. Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, PA. Sickles, Little Silver, New Jersey. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len, he's Julio, that's Aaron, and then we got Sam on the other side of the glass. Hey, Julio, you said you had a nice Thanksgiving.
I did. Very
At your
nice.
cousin?
Oh, yes.
A little gassy?
Wonderful. Oh, yeah, I think so.
You should get on the other side of the glass. Anyway, we're talking about Christmas and Christmas greens and how to decorate with different greens. One of the things that people know so what's the difference between garland and roping? Nothing. Okay. It depends on where you are in the part of the country. Here in the Northeast, we say usually it's roping, and it usually comes in anywhere from 25 foot to 50 foot and always seems to have a base of pine. And there are some kinds that we, Bloomers anyway, does not want to carry any longer. And it's because it's a limited resource, and that's something called princess pine. Princess pine lasted the longest. It was really pretty. It was really nice, but it is a ground cover pine that only grows naturally. You can't try, like, for instance, you can't really seed your shaded areas with ground pine. It just appears. And that it's never been done successful as far as my, 40 years of experience. And that where people go out in the woods and they pull the ground pine, now the responsible people pull it and leave enough so that it will reproduce and that they only take what will be reproduced. But honestly, I don't trust them. You know, the greed of the season sometimes gets ahead of folks, and it's something, again, that's princess pine, also known as ground pine.
Are they still selling that? Or?
Some places, I think.
Oh, are they?
You know, it's expensive. It's really, really expensive. And that's one thing that normally I don't like to stop at commerce, but that is one thing that I would like to see ended, because it looks nice, but if you do use a like Western red cedar or Western cedar, that's it looks almost like an arborvitae in a way, and that's very good, and that you can use that and it has that same kind of texture. So just saying, those of you that have been around like me that have known about princess pine, where it's truly not exactly from a pine tree. White pine outsells all of it. White pine can also be mixed with boxwood. And we have some white pine and boxwood mixes. We also have had boxwood, pine, and cedar mix. Not too much this year, but there's also shorter sections that technically we called table runners, and that's where it's like, is it a garland or is it roping? You know, I don't know. Tomato, you know, pork roll, Taylor ham, you know. So, but when it's a garland, and that we get some from the West Coast where it's a noble fir, which looks an awful lot like Fraser fir, but it is different. It is different. And that it has mixed with it let's see, incense cedar, which looks a lot like Western cedar. Okay. And then it has a little sprig of berry juniper. Do you know what berry juniper is, Julio? It's basically a common juniper, one of those ones that gets to be about 6 feet tall and 6 feet wide, and it gets those blue berries on it. And that they basically set berries this time of the year, and that you may have some in your yard. And I encourage you to go out and get some of the greens from your yard. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But the way that they're made is that they're just bunches that are basically wired all together. And we go right back to wilt stop. You want to go and you want to make sure that you're spraying this stuff with wilt stop and letting it dry before you bring it into the house. We used for Thanksgiving, we used a table runner of noble mixed with some pine cones and some Western cedar, and it looked great. It looked great, and it really was. It didn't like overtake Thanksgiving, which so many holidays seem to be. But again, it's something where there's a history to it too. You know, where it goes back to the use of evergreen as a symbol of the holidays. Okay, and where there was holy days. You know, and it really, so here you go, little history. You know, before Christianity became the primary religion in Europe, many Druid, Celtic, Norse, and Roman civilizations celebrated the winter solstice, and that goes right back to using live greenery to symbol eternal life, and plants stayed, you know, green all year long, and they brought that into their celebrations. And again, we go back to those holidays that we mentioned, or those pagan holidays that we mentioned, and that originally, because it was considered pagan, that holiday greens were frowned upon until, ready? I even have a date. 1848. 1848. It doesn't sound that long ago, considering the ancient cultures that we're talking about. Queen Victoria of England desired to have a Christmas tree added to the holiday decorations because her husband, Prince Albert, was originally from
England.
No. Germany.
Oh, gosh.
Germany. Do you have Prince Albert in a can? No, it's a
No, I don't.
joke that nobody understands anymore. So anyway, so he being from Germany celebrated with the holiday greens, and it was, you know, a Christian thing. It wasn't a, you know, pagan thing. So after that, it became, hip to use greens, and that's why we, basically it's not considered a pagan holiday or a pagan thing where it represents Christianity more than it represents any weird Germanic thing that they thought that it used to. Garland is original Christmas tree. There's a time where there were no Christmas trees. Garland was, again, various types of not only, did you ever weave popcorn
No.
on a thread? Sam?
I did Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops? All right, that counts. Yeah. That counts. But what you do is you take popcorn. We still sell artificial, popcorn, cranberry mixed garland. It's basically on a string. And that was how they used to do it. There's no real wrong answer. So if you use, things like that, but again, synthetic garland, mass produced in China. I don't know, any company. Yeah. A lot of American, USA companies sell it, but it's all manufactured in China for the most part. I keep waiting for them to turn to, Vietnam or India using their labor force, but right, China's, what can I say? China's set up for it right now. Yeah. Let's see that do you put a wreath or do you do garlands or anything like that in your house?
No.
Oh,
you're us Cubans, we don't put anything.
You don't put anything up? Not even palm tree, date tree. There you go. Did you eat dates? No.
Yeah, we didn't put anything.
All right. Again, it all started with doing it because of the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year.
Yeah, there was none of that in Cuba.
Here comes the sun. Hit it, Hal. No,
I can get it.
Yeah, I know.
Hang on. I'll have it in the queue.
There you go. All right. Next time, it's Here Comes the Sun is coming on. We got to miss the introduction though. But again, it's because, I think about it all the time, but it's because of our business. What do we just do at Bloomers? We just changed the light bulbs, or because the light bulbs were out on some of our outdoor lighting because we closed at 7:00, and that. We didn't need any light. It was dark till then. Now it's dark at 1:00 in the afternoon. Yeah. So again, I can't wait for the light to be longer and longer and longer. And the longest day is
December 20th.
That's the shortest day. The longest day
is June 21st.
Pretty close. Yeah, it's June 20th or 21st. Okay. Yeah, so the longest day, and a charity that's close and near and dear to my heart is the Alzheimer's Association. They have the longest day as a promotion for giving because, a lot of times for whether it's patients or caregivers with Alzheimer's, the longest day is every day. Every day. And that there's also the thing called sundowning. Sundowning. We're getting off track, but anyways, sundowning is when the sun goes down. All the folks that have Alzheimer's, they get a little weird. Yeah, it sets them off a little bit, and it's true. It's true. Yeah. All right, back to what we're talking about. Again, garlands. Again, Christianity picks up on it. Again, infinite, evergreen. Holly's often used. Again, it's beautiful. You got to make sure you get the right kind. There's some that are real sharp, like the American holly is nasty. I mean, its spines are the kind that where you go near it and it's bite. It's ouch. English holly, like Nellie Stevens holly, is a lot softer. But also that holly has a significance for, again, crown of thorns at the crucifixion. So in the red berries were reminders of the blood Christ spilled for Christians all over the world. First settlers arrived and would become together. That again, it's I don't know. It's the United States. When settlers brought these traditions with them, okay, it wasn't I guess the United States adopts a lot of, culture. I mean, we're a melting pot.
Melting pot,
Yeah, I think we forget that sometimes. We are a melting pot of different cultures, and we adopt and merge into one. Again, it's essential to use in my home because I know that I'm working around Evergreen all the time, and that what happens is you bring that smell and you bring that thing, and like when I come home, my Christmas tree, I can't smell it because I've been around it all day. But other guests that come in, or friends, or even family members, they come in, and it's like, wow, it smells so great in here. And it does make a difference. The cheap candles or even expensive candles that smell, like pine sol. That doesn't quite do it. No. That doesn't quite do it. So consider bringing some cut greens. And again, we're going to go to our next segment, and we're specifically going to be talking about using some from your own landscape. So listen in to our next segment. We'll be right back right after this.
Are you looking to reach an audience of over 12 million residents in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley, and New York City Tri-State? Then consider becoming a broadcast sponsorship partner for Bloomers in the Garden. Every week on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, your products become associated with the authority in everything lawn, landscape, and garden. For more information on the Bloomers in the Garden Partnership Program, feel free to call the hotline 609-685-1880 or check out the radio tab at bloomers.com.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
If you're like me, then you absolutely love birds. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center has you covered. They're dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds of all sorts. Want to bring more birds to your yard? Then you got to see this place. Bloomers has a huge flock of feeders, birdhouses, birdseed, and much, much more. Want to feed the birds and not the squirrels? They have this absolutely cool bronze bird feeder that will drive those sneaky squirrels nuts. They'll be moving to the next door neighbor in no time. OMG. Bloomers have these absolutely adorable birdhouses that will turn your yard into the perfect bird B&B. They carry all types of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. Bloomer stocks Lyric, Coles, CNS, Pine Tree Farms, and much, much more that will keep those beautiful birds coming back for more. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County. For more information and directions, check them out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center, you got to see this place.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Yes, sir. Here we are with swags, bunches, even gray blankets. All start with a foundation of fresh greens.
That's right.
And I'll tell you what, when I first started, I said, what is that swag?
Swag.
Yeah, what is this swag?
Aaron's got swag.
Oh, yeah,
Aaron's got swag for sure.
Oh, sure.
Carl's got lanky swag.
Carl is lanky swag. That's right. Well, swags are basically two bunches of evergreens that are wired together in the center that you put under a window. So a window swag primarily. But like you said, it all starts with the foundation of evergreens, and you can decorate after that. If you just take a bunch of greens, like for instance, if you're looking on YouTube, and please subscribe and give us 5-star review, we have a swag that is a bunch of evergreens. So it's basically two of these bunches together make a swag. But you can do something with just a bunch where you hang the bunch with the ends of the cut branches up and put a bow that covers the cuts that you made to make the bunch or in the wiring. And you put a bow right on that spot, and you can hot glue pine cones or other decorations and Christmas ornaments, whatever you want. And you can use that. You can hang that on your door. You can put it on near, a mantle. It could be used anywhere. But again, we go back to wilt stop. Wilt stop is something that you should be using so that it lasts for a long time. Like think of it as, taking cut flowers inside but never putting them in water. If you take greens inside, you don't put them in water, but you can coat them with the wilt stop, and that will prevent the moisture from the needles from leaving the plant. So you want to use wilt stop. Absolutely. What about window swag? So window swag, 2 bunch of greens, and I encourage you to go around your landscape and look for, could be arborvitae, it could be certainly pine. If you've got any white pines or black pines or Austrian pines or any type of pine always looks great. It has a great texture too, where it's different than, say, a Fraser or balsam type of most Christmas trees are, because the needles are real long. And you use a combination and you layer it. You don't put one directly on top of the other. You just make it a little bit shorter, the next one a little bit shorter on top of that. And then we talked about blueberry, juniper. You could also use holly. And again, the natural elements that you're bringing inside the home are what makes it. We sell it, but I'm sorry, artificial is fake. If anything collects dust from year to year, ornaments are a different thing. I mean, collecting ornaments, I think we sell Christopher Radko ornaments, and they take, Aaron, what were you telling me, a week to make?
At least, at minimum, 7 days. 7 days for each ornament. Minimum. Yep.
And that's the kind of thing where, it means something, and it's a great gift. I mean, about a hostess gift.
They say third and fourth generational glass blowers that have created that whole series and Christopher Radko, his whole emphasis was on the design aspect and keeping it up, and it was created as a mistake. Like he knocked over his grandmother's Christmas tree and found a new hobby.
And the rest is history.
And
that it's not made in China.
No,
not made in China. These are made in Poland.
Yep.
Somewhere else too. Was it Germany?
Poland. I think some certain areas of Germany and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Western Ukraine.
So again, that's Christopher Radko ornaments. You can decorate with those, but I would avoid using hot glue. You can wire them on. Again, it can make things special. I know that we talked to Sandy today, and she had something of her mom she was actually wearing, and it's one of those things that nostalgia is brought into. She was wearing her mom's pin, and that Sandy's just lost her mom recently, and it just meant so much because Sandy has daughters, and she gave each one of the Christmas pins to her daughter, and it means so much. Speaking of memorials, grave blankets or pillows, which are a small rounded grave blanket. Most grave blankets are either rectangle or maybe a diamond shape, but most are rectangle. That you just make those by using a block of styrofoam and inserting the greens until you fill the block, and then you add your decorations. If you're looking for a well-done grave blanket, go to your local garden center. You can find something that is basically in tune with the personality of the loved one that you're bringing in. They're brought to the cemetery, and they're put on the grave as a memorial. But you could make these at home. You could make these at home if you've got the time and the inclination, and if not, support your local garden center because they're the ones that are making them there by hand. So, the love and Julio, your hands are going to be permanently stained with sap from here until probably New Year's. But again, it's that they're actually made right at the garden center. I can't say enough about using fresh greens, especially, for your holiday table. Local garden center is your place to get them. It's not just a widget to them. It's something that they spend a lot of time and effort to find suppliers that will have the best quality and the best selection. So again, go visit your local garden center and get fresh greens, and even if you use those greens to make your own bunches or to make your blankets or whatever. And I'll just tell you one thing: inside baseball, prices are up. The prices for Christmas trees and for greens is expensive right now.
Well worth.
I don't see it coming back down.
Yeah. Well worth getting though. It's like I was saying, it's unique. It's well made. It's handmade.
We're talking about $6-7 a bunch for a nice sized bunch of pine or Fraser balsam. So again. All right, and use your landscape as a resource. We do. My yard. My yard gets picked pretty bare. All of a sudden, I wonder why my magnolia tree is limbed up 6 feet.
What happened to my magnolia tree? Huh?
Yeah, that's right. We'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior, professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomer's Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, ready?
Yeah.
I've got a great line. Appreciating the present comes from remembering the past.
Wow, that's a beautiful quote. Yeah, you wrote
it's
that.
Good. Yeah, apparently. And what we're
awesome.
going to talk about is, have you ever used a B&B Christmas tree? And that bulb and burlap, that means a living Christmas tree that has the roots on it, and you bring it into the house, and then you bring it out of the house, and you plant it in your yard. Mm-hmm. And it makes a great way to memorialize the Christmas. I know a lot of families that do this, when the new baby or for lots of different reasons. And just I remember one family, they did every single year. Like they had 20, 25 Christmas trees that were planted outside. And it does require some special care. And most of the time you're going to want to remember that it's going to be in the house for a short time. And here's some tips if you're going to do that. One, do not buy a balled and burlap Fraser fir because they don't live in this area along the East Coast, generally because they have they need to be at a higher elevation. That's why they come from North Carolina, the mountains of North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, up way up in the mountainous regions of Pennsylvania, that they can grow there. But we one time made that mistake. Beautiful trees came in, B&B, bring them in, they all died. Oh, yeah, sorry, folks.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah. Well, so you don't want to buy a Fraser for a cut Christmas tree, great. For B&B tree, don't. Best one, honestly, is probably a blue spruce. Beautiful. Perfectly symmetrical. Bites a little bit when you decorate it. But it's beautiful, and it's beautiful outside. The next one would be a Douglas fir. Look for a Douglas fir, or you can look for a Norway spruce. Those both will work very well and live very well. It's something that requires you, though, to only bring it in to your home for a short time. And probably the most important trick is, one, dig the hole now where you're going to put it, because you don't want to end up with that ground frozen solid in January when you're trying to dig that hole, and all of a sudden you need a pickaxe and you're trying to backfill it with chunks.
Oh, yeah.
So what to do is you get your wheelbarrow and you go and you dig the hole, you put that soil in the wheelbarrow, and you put it in your garage so it doesn't freeze solid, okay? Then you can put that tree back in. And now you got to be, clever about how to make sure that nobody falls in that hole too, by the way. Put some boards across a piece of, 3/4 inch plywood, something that will make it so that it's safe, because you don't want anybody walking across your lawn and all of a sudden disappearing. That wouldn't be good. No. That'd make for an interesting holiday season. Oh, yeah. Back to wilt stop. You want to spray it with wilt stop. And that, again, it's when temperatures, get below freezing. It's like, again, it shouldn't be sprayed. But right now, it's going to be cold, the next couple of days at night. But primarily, if you spray it and it goes on while the weather is above freezing, you're okay. But you can't bring it in the house too soon. The shorter the time that it's in your house, and if we do have a turn in the weather and all of a sudden it's freezing every day, you've got to acclimate it into your house and out of your house. You're going to bring it into 70 degrees. I mean, it thinks it's in Florida. It's like, hey, I might start growing. So you can't keep it in too long. So you got to acclimate it to your warm environment in the house. But also when you bring it out, you can shock it if you bring it right out and plant it. It's best to put it in your garage for a couple of days so that it gets used to a gradient down in temperature. And then finally outside, it's only a couple of day process, but it's best not to shock your tree when you bring it right from inside to outside. Invest in a metal wash tub. You know the kind I'm talking about.
Yeah, big.
Again, that would be ideal. And what you're going to do, and here's a trick about watering, you're going to put the ball of the tree in that wash tub, and you're going to take a couple of beach towels. You're going to soak the beach towels wet, because I had somebody call and they said, I watered it. The tub is filled all the way. Yeah, you don't want that. You want to just keep it moist. Again, trees don't drink the way that we do. Trees absorb moisture, and that's what their roots do. And if it gets too wet, they can't breathe, and it kills them. So what you do is you take your beach towels, you get them soaking wet, and you water the beach towels to keep them moist so that it soaks that soil ball. Perfect way to take care of your plant without making it so heavy that you can't bring it outside, because now all of a sudden it went from being 150 pounds to 500 pounds. Again, if you have just one that's in a container, you can use a deep pan or saucer underneath it and take care of it like a house plant. Where you're watering it like a houseplant, where it just goes through and stays in the saucer. But again, it's important not to keep it in the house more than a week. If you start, a couple of days before Christmas and take it out right after New Year's, that would be the max. That would be the max. Again, but it's got to be watered. It's a living thing. But it's a great way to add to your landscape. It's a great way to add to, if you're screening a certain area, that you can do it with a tree, and it kills two birds with one stone. And I'm going to say it. Say it. Cut Christmas trees have become so expensive that the difference in price is no longer that preventative the way that it used to be. Oh. All right. I said it.
You said it.
I said it. Mm-hmm. All right. Speaking of cut Christmas trees, that's what we're going to talk about in our next segment coming up right after this. Some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and, of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor organic potting soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is available at these local retailers: Barlow's, Seagirt, New Jersey; Espen Shade's Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Monton, Pennsylvania; Ashcomb's Farm and Greenhouse, Mechanicsburg, PA.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Are you looking to reach an audience of over 12 million residents in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley, and New York City Tri-State? Then consider becoming a broadcast sponsorship partner for Bloomers in the Garden. Every week on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, your products become associated with the authority in everything lawn, landscape, and garden. For more information on the Bloomers in the Garden Partnership Program, feel free to call the hotline 609-685-1880 or check out the radio tab at bloomers.com.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, I remember that year when Len asked me, Julio, when was the last time you had a fresh cut Christmas tree? And I couldn't answer him.
That's right.
It was that far back. I think it was a child back then.
Yeah. You said when you immigrated from Cuba that your family liked Christmas tree. It's like you had three. You had Three Kings Day, right?
That's right.
Which is a cultural Hispanic thing that is still celebrated by much of our population.
It is, yeah.
But I remember you. I can picture you in that yellow vest, bringing in your first Christmas tree you had since you were like 6 years old or something into your home.
Child, right? Yeah. Len said,
awesome.
you got to get this.
This is just a few years ago. This isn't it was
a few years ago. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
It was really good too.
Why do we do Christmas trees? So why do we do Christmas trees? Okay. First of all, do you want to hear the probably the real reason, or just do you want to hear a story, a myth?
All
right, let's start with a myth. Yeah. I like myths. Myths are fun. Okay, so there's a story, and it comes from the German culture too. So that it's a forester, okay, in Germany. So he was a woodsman, okay, and he had a family, and that it was a cold Christmas Eve night, and the man and his family were in their cottage, gathered around a fire to keep warm, and suddenly there was a knock at the door. And when the forester opened the door, he found a poor little boy standing on the doorstep, lost and all alone. The forester welcomed him into his home and fed him and washed him and put him to bed with his youngest sons. They had to share a bed. And that when the morning came, Christmas morning, the family was awoken by a choir of angels, and the poor little boy had turned into Jesus, the Christ child. The Christ child went into the front garden of the cottage and broke off a branch of a fir tree and gave it to the family as a present to say thank you for looking after him. So ever since then, people have remembered that night by bringing a Christmas tree into their homes.
Oh, wow. That's a nice story.
It is a nice story. Yeah. I like that story, too. Yeah, now, the real Christmas tree story, Martin Luther.
Oh, yeah.
Martin Luther.
Yeah, Martin.
Rebellious Catholic.
Is that what he was?
That's it. Martin Luther was the first reformer. And he was the first person, they say, that brought a Christmas tree into the house. And that the story goes, and this goes back to the 16th century. So those of you that like history like me, I hope you like this story. The story is that one night before Christmas, he was walking through the forest and he looked up to see the stars shining through the branches of the trees. And it was so beautiful that he went home and told his children that it reminded him of Jesus, who left the stars of the heavens to come to earth at Christmas. And so he brought a Christmas tree in, and that's where, you see candles being put on trees. That's why I have Christmas lights on our trees, because every tip of the branch had a star that he saw through the trees. And that's why we have, we don't use candles anymore because we know it's a fire hazard, but we do use lights. Yeah, and that's how that got started.
Awesome.
Wow.
Is that pretty neat or what?
Did you know?
No,
Did you know?
I did not.
And that's the rest of the story.
The more you know.
All right. So you want to know what tree to buy. First of all, Douglas fir. Douglas fir are a softer needle tree. And it was studied by a Scottish botanist, David Douglas. So you're wondering how it got its name in the 1820s. It's a conifer that is grown in a lot of different areas. So it can be found anywhere from, all through North America to the mountains of Mexico, into Canada, the Rockies. And it's a great Christmas tree, widely distributed in the Northeast. It has, we talked about it earlier on, it has anywhere from a bluish color, bluish tint, where it's not blue like a blue spruce, but it's a blue-green, like almost a gray-green, and then it goes all the way to like that lemon-lime green color. Great needle retention, and it's a holiday favorite because it does not pinch like a spruce would. Balsam fir is usually from Canada. Great Christmas tree for the Northeast. Soft, dark green foliage with the undersides of it are more of a gray blue. Aroma is probably one of the best, and it's a longtime favorite. And again, Fraser fir is seeming to take it over, but it certainly is. It's going to be pricier than the other two trees. And they're grown mostly in the Smoky Mountains, North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and they call it sometimes a southern balsam because it has that same look, but it has a row of double needles on the top. Great choice. Needle retention is good. Citrusy, evergreen fragrance, not quite as fragrant as a balsam or a Douglas fir, but still, if you're not used to the smell, you're going to smell it either way. I just had Sam come into the studio just to see if he smelled the evergreen, and he said a little bit, but when he walked right over to where our table was, he definitely could. Concolor fir, sometimes you see in their white fir, really cool. Their needles look a little rubbery. It's interesting. You can't find them that often. They can be brittle. I don't mean brittle dry, just the branches snap pretty easy. White pine, I wouldn't recommend. Just simply the needles are long and they do drop, and they naturally shed this time of the year. So you may get a tree that's still in the shedding process, and it may shed inside your house. So white pine is not the best.
I got a joke about white pine.
Yeah? All right, Let's hear it.
Cue up the rim shot. What do you get when you cross a Christmas tree with an iPad or your phone?
Or my phone? Okay, what?
A pineapple.
Thanks to Aaron's Thanksgiving table.
Dad jokes.
Dad jokes. All right. So again, you can spray all your trees with wilt stop. Excellent for helping make things work out best. Don't leave it tied up in your garage, like, when they put it through that netter at your local garden center. Open it up when you get it in. You're going to stamp it out. Shake any of those like needles that I was saying earlier, and then you're going to want to put it in a bucket of water, because hopefully your garden center, like Bloomers, makes a fresh cut on it. Because like when you get flowers from your florist or from your garden center, that you cut the ends so that it absorbs more water. Same thing. And that you also want to use something called Prolong in the water that you fill the stand. Always keep the stand full. Always keep the stand full and use Prolong, because Prolong will stop that sap from clogging the area where the tree absorbs moisture from. Again, my first choices are Fraser fir, Douglas fir, balsam fir. Those are my top three.
Wow.
So if you're out there, go get them. Go get them, and go to your local garden center first, because again, they take pride in what they do. They take care of their plants. Their trees. They want to make sure that they are that you come back. When it's a widget, when it's at Home Depot or Lowe's or some of those other, to them, it's just, it doesn't really matter. It costs them this. They sell it at this. And, if it's dry, whatever. All right. We'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider, or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word, 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York Tri-State Area on Classic Oldies, 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Julio,
wow. I'll tell you
we're
what.
running over again.
Yes, we are.
Go to your local garden center. Go get your Christmas tree and your greens. You will never have a more happy Christmas.
Oh, no. Yeah. The next time you visit your favorite garden center, tell me to listen to Bloomers in the Garden. And listen, and go to your favorite podcast, too, and listen to us there. And also go to bloomers.com, and you can visit us there also.
Well said. We'll see you next week right here at the same time. We'll see you in the garden.
See you in the garden.